Hello, hello. This is Kev, and this is BMBBH. Reminding you to hit the like on your way in. Hit that like button. Like so for free. Therefore, the algorithm. Appreciate that. Appreciate the channel's continued growth. Please help this channel along this path. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And there's a little bit to talk about tonight. Listen up, guys. Yeah, a lot going on this week. It's a lot going on this week, as it is every week. Got some people in the building here already. So got my boy RPM. What's going on? We got Ken seeing red. Got Toya the tutor. What's going on? Always good to see you. Dane One. What's going on? So just thought I would touch on this TD Jake situation a little bit. Uh, yeah. So yeah, just a message real quick to the group of people that they kind of stay in this space, but they act like they hate the space so much. Talking about this anti-black manosphere, just let, without calling out any names because it'll probably be calling out names here in a little bit, but I'm not going to focus on that tonight. Probably focus on that tomorrow night. So, I mean, I'm not exactly the most messy person and wanting to start beefs or feuds or anything like that because when you dealing with people like that, they don't want to they don't want to see to reason. The main problem with people like that is the fact that they don't value black, and I'm sure there'll be a lot to say about that in the coming weeks. But for the most part, my advice to each content creator, whether you're black manosphere or anti-black manosphere or whatever you want to call yourself, just go off the merit of your content, and it everything else will do the rest. So even even with aspiring content creators, um, listen, just go off on the merit of your own content, and don't act like everyone else is the problem, and you'll be just fine. So more on that tomorrow night, but we got to touch on TD Jakes. And here's one thing that I want to talk about is that why is it that all these preachers and all these men of the cloth and all these men of God are speaking on this kind of thing now? When there was a time and there was definitely a place for them to speak on it, just before it got so bad. But here's the problem with people like TD Jakes. Before we get into what he said, is that these kinds of places, these buildings, these churches, these communities, these congregations, is that most of those places and congregations and communities would have a head person, which is the preacher or the pastor or the bishop, as TD Jakes is titled. And what these places would do is pander. It was never a visit on the real problems in our communities, so to speak, such as, the waywardness of the boys and the teenagers. It wasn't something that the church really tried to handle as far as, sermon to sermon every Sunday. It was more of a pandering type preaching, and it's for that reason it was to keep their money going. And there's plenty out here. There's plenty of people out here who have the tendency to capture a crowd and to capture a huge number of people with said pandering, just so they can keep their funds going. Now, this has been a big complaint about the, what the church is supposed to be about versus what the church is about. And this, I grew up going to church. I grew up, in the Catholic Church actually, and it's not the stereotypical Catholic Church where you got all these funny preachers trying to do stuff to the boys. Because I didn't grow up in a Catholic Church like that. The Catholic Church's congregation was pretty much black, and we had a fellowship and a community, that was filled with love and encouragement. Until, I mean, people got old and then people started passing away. But that's enough on that. What I'm about to show you is a video because TD Jakes has been saying a great number of things lately. And, is when you say things like that, you're going to have a certain group of people that are going to complain about it, gonna act like that they've never said anything that's really in agreement to what was said to them before. It's like this, and it's this funny thing about us as black people. We we have a tendency to hear people say 99 to 100 good things. If they say one thing we don't like, then we discard the 99 to 100 things that these people said. And shoot, TD Jakes is, on top of being a man of God, has been pretty successful saying things that people want to hear. But what it boils down to is the great lesson that you can say many, many things that people want to hear. The first thing you say that they don't like, then all of a sudden they forget about who you were before. And then all of a sudden it's about what you said, that one thing that they don't like. And it's a lesson that I guess all of us have to learn one way or another. And I learned that lesson a long time ago. It's not what you do for people, is how you make those people feel. They're never gonna, especially us, especially black folks. We are not gonna remember what someone did for us, but we'll always remember how they made us feel. So let me go ahead and show y'all this video. So I see Mr. down there. Yeah, they ain't want to say this sad. He can't be right by black people but take our money. All he does is cater to women. Yeah, yeah. And then when he gets to the point where he wants women to listen to something that he might have to say that is effective, then all of a sudden they're gonna discard the stuff that he's saying. And that's usually what happens with people. If you, okay, it's like spoiling a person. You pander and pander and pander to a person, then they're gonna listen to everything you got to say. Because that's what they want to hear. But when you try to tell them something that might be useful, then this is when they flake on you. This is when they start to crack. This is when they start getting mad. And the lesson here is you should never spoil anyone. You should never spoil anyone. As adorable as my daughter is, I don't spoil her. So let's get to it. Let's This is a video that has been going all over social media. I got this particular video off Facebook. So I will be showing it again and again if necessary throughout the night. And I want to know what your thoughts are as to what this man said. So here we go.
Speak to them, Bishop.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture.
Oh, yeah, fair use. Fair use. If you don't see it flashing on the screen, that's what I said. Fair use. Okay, let's go back a little bit. All right, cool.
All sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we are raising up women to be men. And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you're climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families. I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away. Oh, y'all ain't gonna talk back to me this morning.
Speak to them, Bishop.
This breaks.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest in that 1 minute. But who's raising these women to be the men? Who's raising them to be men? Yeah, the usual excuse for something like this, especially coming from feminists, is that for what he was talking about, um, the the they will say that the men aren't doing their part as far as what our roles need to be in this society, you know. But when I hear a woman complain about that, the only thing that tells me is those are the kind of dudes that they are fucking. That they have to take on the role of a man because men aren't doing their part when simply, and this is the kind of things that I hear from people, when simply they won't let men lead. Now, these aren't my sentiments. Like, is if you refuse to fall under the leadership of a man, then it's not that it's not that you have to become a man. Is that you're just some belligerent, hostile ass person who refuse to fall under anyone. But let's continue.
All sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we are raising up women to be men.
Again, I ask, who is raising women to be men? According to our family sociological order, that's not the case at all, unless there's not the presence of a male. If and it's the fault of several parties when that kind of situation happens. You know, it's not. It's. I'm trying to find a way to put this. Whenever you decide to procreate without the presence of a marriage, then what happens is the female feels as if she has to take on certain roles. Now, I'm not saying this is excusable because it isn't. And this is something that we touch on in this space quite a bit when it comes to, single motherhood. That the woman feels like that she, for some reason, she is replacing the man if uh, Pooptastic Jr. doesn't take his role of the father when he gets her pregnant. And that that's a way to say it because it's not that she got pregnant. She got herself pregnant too by participating in the act of unprotected sex. And now that this so-called quote unquote father won't stick around, all of a sudden she has to take on the role of a man. And like this this whole thing is kind of stupid because is like he said, you're not applauded for your femininity. That's not something that really happens in the black community. Like, if you just listen to what a lot of the men are saying, yes, we do applaud women for their femininity, but the greater society does not. You know, we in American culture have leaned, especially like with a lot of the way that these guys see things, we have leaned more toward into a feminist matriarchal mindset, which puts the woman at the head and not the man. And when there is a man present, he's kind of a bumbling fool. You know, I mean, he's either that present dad, that stern figure, that rock, that anchor, or he's some kind of bubbling man that acts like he's afraid of women. Your mama gonna kill me. Well, your mama mad. You know, that kind of dude. So let's see if I can pick out anything else he says in this video.
And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you're climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families.
Uh, yeah, you got brothers saying stuff like a woman will submit to her job before she submits to her man. And while that may be true, I gotta tell y'all guys something. I'm not against a woman being ambitious at all. I'm not. If she wants to work, let her work. If she wants to do things that improve her own well being and she has to be basically the one to take care of herself when there's no man present, then hey, let her. You know, I'm not going to speak in terms of me, myself, getting disrespected because I'm the kind of cat that's like, look, I don't care what you do. I don't care how successful you are. Respect is bilateral. You respect me, I respect you, and that's how it's gonna be. Or I'm not dealing with your ass. And many of us men, we need to have that attitude. If you're not gonna respect me, I'm just not gonna deal with you. Period. You know what I mean, I'm not gonna be that guy that's just gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, you need to respect me," or "You better respect me," or whatever, because I don't roll like that. I don't roll like that. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think that you should stick around and beg these women anyway to act like that. It is what it is. Be a player. Be a ladies' man. If you have any of these types of complaints, then I don't know, maybe you're not prioritizing. But what he's saying is stuff that should have been said a long time ago. And why all of a sudden now? Why now? Why is it that he's saying this now as opposed to when he was making an upsurge in his career? Why didn't he say it then? And the answer is he just wanted to pander and make that money. So let's continue.
I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house, but until you
I always said that. I always said this one thing. It's like went for two women that's like, okay, I don't need no man. I can buy my own house. I can buy my own car. Um, that's all you want a man for? That's all you believe that men do is um, he's going to provide a house and he's going to provide a car, and you don't need him because you've been able to do those kinds of things yourself. The point is that I'm trying to make is that you don't value a man's companionship. You don't value anything for him except to buy you things. Now, if you listen, now you've heard women say this time and time again, and they're usually the ones that end up single. So, I mean, and rightfully so, because if that's all her value in you, if to is to buy her things, then my suggestion is you don't play the sucker, you don't play the fool, and buy her those things. You get those things for yourself, and you leave that bitch where she's at. So.
create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away.
Uh, a need that I can pour into, but if don't come home bragging to me about how much you don't need me. Ah, yeah. I mean, I would say that he's echoing a sentiment that a lot of men have been saying, like I said, for years and years and years. In other words, TD Jakes is late to the party. He's late. He's just like with any of these preachers who sat there and pandered to the demographic that you know that they have been preaching to for years. Why is it that you're saying this stuff now? Could it be because of the dawn of the black manosphere? And we're saying things that should have been said a long time ago, and you could believe whatever you want to from these anti-black manosphere jokers, these uh, yeah, these haters of the space that really just doing it for a trend, and um, they're doing it just to search for some type of identity, that many of them weren't man enough to handle on their own. But but I will say this: the black manosphere, due to the messages that we have put out here and the messages that those that came before me have put out here, we could be poised and positioned to become the thought leaders of what's left of this community. And it's not just the black manosphere, but black men who speak freely in general, not just us. Not just me. There are plenty of men out here, and every time a black and let me tell you something. Every time a black man steps up here and says something, or says anything that is, you know, in relation to what goes on in this community, every black man on this platform who speaks this way is not black manosphere. They're not. So, there are some guys out here that screw up and do some dumb shit, and then they happen to be YouTube creators. And the first thing that these people will say is that these guys, these anti-black manosphere, these little hater ass niggas, first thing they'll say is they're part of the black manosphere. So now, me speaking from the fringe of the black manosphere. I'm going to say that I want to more so see the space take its place amongst the thought process in black YouTube, in the whatever's left of this black community, because the reason why a lot of these guys are up here is because of the pushback that thought leaders like these preachers like TD Jakes and Creflo Dollar have provided. Jamal Bryant and his recent uh, comments about Kevin Samuels after he passed, and then would come back and apologize about what he said. This the reason, like I said, why a lot of these guys, including myself, that are up here is because the leadership from guys like TD Jakes was lacking. And these guys, like him, like Creflo Dollar, like Jamal Bryant, like Eddie Long when he was alive, did more harm than good. Now you got Creflo Dollar saying that ties really don't do anything. Creflo Dollar had some things to say about, creators on YouTube and black male vloggers and Kevin Samuels. He's had things to say. Now they're speaking from a place of, I guess, honesty, because the honeypot is running out. The the writing's on the wall. This is where the trend is going. Men who tell the truth, men who don't use a filter, men who are brutally honest, black men who are brutally honest. Yep, we're the cool table. And one of the things, here's one of the things. These guys may feel that their influence is slipping. So they have to say things that are, what is the word old boy uses? Bombastic, in order to get people back into sync for, their attention. RPM says Umar Johnson is another one. A snake oil salesman, a grifter. And you know what? I believed for a long time that Dr. Umar was in a good place when he wanted to open up a school to teach black kids black culture. I mean, and he had so many plans. Art New Style, what's going on? And he says he had so many plans for the children, but now it just seems like that he waves that finger in the air and he panders and he panders. Weather, what's going on? Mr. Mitchell, what's going on? What does Mr. Mitchell have to say? Let me go through some of these contents. I mean, comments. I said contents. The contents of the comments. How about that? Oh, Mr. Mister. All right, we got a super chat. Appreciate that, brother. He said, I really don't like how former KS detractors keep repeating his message after his death as if it's their own words. When he was here, they said he was wrong. Mm-hmm. Uh, Kendra G, if that's who you're talking about. Weather says TD Jakes is a universalist. Universalism is the belief that Christ isn't necessarily the foundation of salvation. He's far more dangerous in that regard than anything he said in the natural. Hmm. Hmm. see. Brian Dane said these broads use the government as they man. Yeah, yeah, kinda. I mean, when they're being offered free money, whether the irony is that T.D. Jakes and the Universalist pastors like him have given way to the behavior of modern women. He's promoted a lack of accountability for sin through his watered down theology. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was saying. I mean, let's see. They ain't want women to always be quick to say they're independent but on welfare and living in Section 8. What tragic irony. Whether Jamal Bryant's comments regarding abortion are far more harmful than anything he ever said about Kevin Samuels, a pastor who believes the opposite of what the Bible says about abortion is uh, anathema. Art Nostal TV says they need husbands to double the funding. These ladies are not making enough money alone anymore. Oh, okay. So what Art is saying is what he's trying to do is he's trying to draw men into the church. I mean, after years and years of pushing us away, yeah. So basically, I think what Art is saying is that now these preachers are trying to pander to us. Because let me tell you something about men in particular. They say that the priest or the pastor and the bishop are the shepherds, and the congregation are the sheep. And one thing I would say about grown ass men is that grown ass men don't like to be regarded as sheep. We are not sheep. We don't carry ourselves as sheep. They ain't one. These black preachers are on some bullshit, and it's sad. And Roland Martin and Boyce. Yeah. Can see in red said a few years ago, TD said he evolved on gay marriage. I wonder will he speak on them next. I doubt it. Yeah, because supposedly in the Bible, um, I've read these kinds of passages several times growing up, that same sex relations is wrong. But they're not going to do that because let me tell you something about church. Church doesn't have to pay taxes. Therefore, they have to talk a specific doctrine in which they are instructed to do so. If they start speaking against like what the government overall, if church starts speaking against what the government pushes as narratives, then they are going to begin to tax the churches. I learned this a while back. I went to church one morning and the priest, as we call them in Catholic Church, was doing a homily. Now a homily is what regular churches call a sermon. And on Facebook later that day, this was back in 2012, one of my Facebook friends who um he was a guy that I kind of grew up around. He was one of my friend's brothers. He was a preacher in a Baptist church, and he did his sermon. And the sermon and the homily from my church was almost identical. And that was when I kind of started backing away from the church a little bit because my thing is priests and preachers, they're speaking things that they are told to speak, and they're not really speaking from their hearts. Not to say that's what all or any of them do, but it's like my idea of the truth that was given to me was that these guys spoke from their hearts. I didn't think that they were being told to say certain things because they're supposed to be men of God. And God is supposed to be the ones that inspire you to say these things that give people hope and inspiration to carry on their lives from week to week, not something that is told to them. And the guys that are better with it are the guys that are in the mega churches like Creflo Dollar and Joe Osteen and TD Jakes. Brother says, I want to hear TD and Creflo talk about who won't inherit the kingdom of God. That's half their congregation gone. Fornicators, LGBT, just for starters. Sadly, these men are afraid to speak the truth. Yeah. Can you imagine them actually speaking what the Bible says? Man, there'll be people in front of their congregations protesting with picket signs. Love is love. The church is phobic. And they're not supposed to be afraid of anything like that. They're supposed to stand on that Bible. And those are the couple of the things. And those are the couple of the things that these guys back away from. They back away from that inevitable truth that is, you know, in that Bible that they have that they preach from. And I believe that's a large reason why men do not really go to the church anymore. Also based on the improbability of some of the things that are said there. And I'm not saying that for those of you who go to the church who actually have these beliefs that if it's helping you, it's helping you. If it's filling your spirit with positivity and motivation throughout the week, don't let people like me ruin that for you. I'm just saying that in my experiences with the church growing up, that there were just some things that I had to kind of question. Things that I feel as if we should have been questioned. If places like that had just been honest with men in the first place, then we wouldn't look at the church like we look at it now. So there's a group of men that I do understand. They are feeling what this man is saying, and for me, it's just got to be a little bit more than this. There has to be a bit more sincerity in messages such as what was said in that video, because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that, unless he's projecting problems that he has at his own house, that which could be a pretty big possibility, because everything will be all good, in their houses, and then they do what one of you already said. They come to this prosperity preaching and put something in the plate and the Lord loves you, and then when they start having problems on their own front, then that's when they want to start saying all this shit. Not to say that's what we come here is to do, is to vent our grievances by projecting what goes on at the house. But it is what it is. And that, I mean, you know what though, that's what a lot of people do when they come to platforms such as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. For those of you who do that on Instagram and YouTube, is that when we have certain certain kinds of problems in our lives, what we do is we come to these platforms to vent and to project that kind of those kinds of dealings onto others. And yes, we do have a lot of people that listen to us speak that way because they're experiencing the same things at the house in their respective lives. Here's another reason why TD Jakes is speaking like this. And I don't know if I've mentioned this in more or less words, but maybe he's trying to give the leadership and the thought and the power back to the preachers by speaking on some of the things that we've already spoken on. Mr. Me Too, what's going on? What's up? Yeah, this whole speak black men speaking in podcasts is catching on, and pretty soon, instead of people going to the churches, they could be coming to us like you guys do whenever I'm on the air every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Well, not every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays are the days that you should be looking for me to do live broadcast. And not to say that I'm anywhere near the the magnetism that Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes um have seen amongst people who listen to them. But who's been more helpful to you guys in your life? And I mean, you podcasters or preachers. I mean, you can say preachers. I mean, I'm not gonna get upset with y'all. I mean, there might be other people that might take that personal, but so those preachers, those guys like Creflo Dollar, those guys like TD Jakes. Who else is a famous black one? Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes might be the most famous ones because then you got people like Kenneth Copeland and Joel Osteen. You know, but like I said, let's get back to the black ones. Like I said, they might be seeing this pod and Jamal Bryant. They might be seeing this podcast thing take off, and they might be saying, "Hey, you know what? We need to start saying some of this stuff, or pretty soon, no one will be listening to us. They'll just be listening to them." APTV, what's going on? So we got to say the flagrant, bombastic things that we were afraid to say before. That's speaking as a TD Jakes or a Jamal Bryant or a Creflo Dollar might be saying. Creflo Dollar might have to say more stuff like ties really don't do anything, even though I asked you guys for $65 million for a jet. TD Jakes might have to continue to say things like these hoes ain't loyal and who the hell. In fact, Jamal Bryant said that a long time ago. Talking about these hoes ain't loyal. Like this was like back in 2013. There was a clip of Jamal Bryant going around saying these hoes ain't loyal. Weather said Eddie Long was a very sad individual. Yeah, he was molesting little boys in the pulpit. Yet when he died, 20,000 people attended his funeral. like they didn't care. And that was one of my things for like really going and taking like before I even started making content. One of the things that I saw that probably was one of the catalysts into pushing me to make content was the fact that we have a overall lack of care for black boys because of the things that Eddie Long did, and people still attended his funeral in droves. After hearing that shit, like after hearing after hearing that about Eddie Long, shit, you couldn't pay me to pay respects to that guy after he died. I don't mean to speak ill of the dead or anything like that. You know, we've had plenty of that in the past few months, but still, Eddie Long, Weather says G. Craig Lewis is a very good pastor. Kev, you might like him. He's out of Texas. Yeah, I know who G. Craig Lewis is. G. Craig Lewis was one of the ones that, he kept trying to put celebrities on the spot for, this that's when everybody was real big on the whole Illuminati conspiracy. Yeah, so I know who G. Craig Lewis is. I wonder has he gotten off of that. But G. Craig Lewis was someone that I didn't have too many problems with. I'll say that. I mean, aside from the whole Illuminati conspiracy theory, which I would later dismiss as, I would later dismiss it as black people hating on other black people because they got money, and I didn't want to get caught up on that too much. But there's some weird shit going on definitely in that neck of the woods. So I wouldn't exactly say that it's all black folks hating on black people with money, but because we do have a lot of that going on. But you know, it is what it is. Is that Weather said G. Craig was on TD Jake's head a few years ago? I mean, and my guess for him doing that is we have this perception of it being one way, but what some of those guys presenting is a whole nother way. And this is why people's beliefs are so shaken and so rattled because of that, because of those kinds of things. All right. So those of you watching, let me remind you, if you haven't done it yet, please hit that like button. I have 29 likes, which is a pretty good ratio. I've seen I only got 23 people watching, so that's pretty good. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for hitting that like button. You guys are great. Said he was also the one who exposed a lot of the LGBT influence in the black church. Yeah, man, they've been riding that train hard lately. Talking about the alphabet people. Man, it's weird because it was like I said a long time ago. Why are people rewarding people and patting people on the back for having sex with somebody? If you want something to be accepted as a norm, you shut the fuck up about it. You carry on like it's normal. I mean, I don't have to believe and think that what you're doing is normal. I don't. But, to have it put in my face like I'm supposed to like it, that's taking my freedom to think how I want to think about it. They ain't want sweet meat. Shoot. But anyway, I mean, again, why is TDJ speaking like this now? Why didn't he speak like that when we actually needed him to speak like that? Why didn't any of these preachers speak like that before we, like, I mean, when we needed them to speak like that? Said monkeypox is gonna get them. Oh yeah, because I think they're saying monkeypox is sexually transmitted. Ew, which is, that'll be a hell of an STD right there. Yeah, but anyway, shoot, see if I can do this. If anybody wants to come up, hold on. Weather has a question. He said, "Kev, you're from the South. What do you think has been the biggest factor what has caused so much harm to Black Americans? The Black Church or the Democratic Party or drug and gang culture?" Hmm. Hmm. Let me tell you something. I don't believe the Black Church. I don't believe it was the Black Church by itself. I would say that because the Black Church were was fed doctrines after said harm came through. The Democratic Party promised you tangibles, but never gave them to you. And they're, how people say left wing, right wing, same bird. I believe in that. I don't believe that. I believe that all these politicians are sticky, they're selfish, and they're pretty much doing the same thing. The Democratic Party just led black people into believing that they were the good guys. Drug and gang culture, I blame them for a lot. Drug was planted by the government, Democrats and Republicans. So drug and gang culture and politicians, uh, drug and gang culture and politicians, they worked hand in hand. I mean, the Reagan administration, which were Republicans, but you had Democrats like Joe Biden, who had their hand in the crack era laws and the crime bill laws. So as far as damage, yeah, the Democratic Party played a large part in it, and it's because of the fact that they are politicians that have led you to believe that they are actually the good guys and not just as bad as the Republicans. Drug and gang culture. Drug culture is basic. Drug culture is basically taking advantage of weakness. I mean, if I'm going to tell you like this. I don't care if people take drugs. And the reason why I say that is because they're doing that on their own volition and their own choice. Even if they are addicted, there had to be a choice that was made to lead them to that addiction. If you harm yourself, then you're not harming anyone else. So shit, take all the drugs you want. But for some of them drugs, there are consequences. Gangs, I hate gangs in the black community. Gangs is some of the worst shit that's ever happened in the black community. If you are a former gang member, you participated in some of the worst shit that's ever happened in the black community. Gangs to me are the salt of the fucking earth. And let me tell you why. Black gangs. I can't stand street gangs. Let me tell you why. Because they'll harm and they'll bully and they'll kill other black people. But any other group of people they'll probably accept. If white dudes walk into a gang infested neighborhood, they'll probably walk out scot free. If another black person, especially like if like a studious black guy walks in a troubled neighborhood, he's likely to get bullied. He's likely to get walked on, jumped on, probably hospitalized, if not killed. Gangs are like the ultimate punks. They are. Hell, I used to hear stories about like look, I'm not from South Central LA, so I may not know what I'm talking about. But I heard the MS-13s have been punking the black gangs down there. You know, the Mexican gangs, the Mexican mafia, those people like that. And I hate it like for a group of guys who seem like that they are so badass. They want to act like punks when it comes to a situation such as that. So it's a combination of politics and street gangs. To answer your question, Weather says mental illness is something that concerns me about black people because it's like gasoline to the fire of back discontents. Angst festering and troubled mind makes for very unpredictable people. Yeah, you gotta have, you gotta figure in stuff like socioeconomic conditions. If you live in a like saying people who live in a poor neighborhood who are always hungry, they're gonna be tired of being hungry. Art Nostal says they don't touch white dudes. Figures. They don't. All the white dudes got to come in and do is that all they got to do is come in and do is say a couple of yos, act a little black as they say, and they get a free cheese pass. They get a free cheese pass. I'm not saying that you should bring harm to folks based on whatever. No, you should not. You should not try to harm people. I'm against that. But it's a shame to see that as a black person, something is more likely to happen to you walking into certain black neighborhoods than it is to any other ethnicity of people. And I mean any other, especially white dudes. Think about these same culture of white people that used to walk into your neighborhoods and your townships and be able to pull out a black person. But see that those are back in very dark times in black history. I mean, I know a lot of you don't care about history, but I do because what is the old saying? Those who have a tendency to forget the past are doomed to repeat it. I'm not like some of you. I don't believe that you should ever forget the past, that you should ever forget what black people went through. What up, Ike? What's going on? What's up, D. Scott? Not exactly, Ike. I'm just, I'm just saying, I'm not a believer that you should be harming other people, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It's like we have more of a tendency to harm each other than we are to harm any other group of people. Phil Brad, what's going on? Was it Dane Juan says back in the day they were all against Italians, the GDs and the BDs. They were the BGDs until the 80s. What happened though? Weather says, Kev, I got the most demonic murderous states from black men while at the grocery store of all places. It's sad, OG, and automatic distrust and hatred in their eyes. Again, that is because black don't value black. We don't. And although guys like TD Jakes said what he said about the women and how the women are, let me put it to you like this. We need more than that from these so-called leaders, these so-called preachers. Because there are guys that are already handling that doctrine right now. We're already handling that. And it's like, that's not, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys something that a lot of guys don't seem to believe in this space. Speaking to women as such is not very effective. I'm not going to say those three words. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say that acronym. Yeah, but it doesn't seem as if it's effective. I mean, the only thing is I'm not gonna say that they don't care because the various videos that they've made on this kind of thing that says to me that they do care. That man said dudes look like they want to fight the frozen food out. Yeah. Yeah, we'll fight because we think somebody looked at us wrong. But it's like look at other brothers like looking at other brothers like I don't know, like they're the enemy. Said my Mexicans and Asians trip when I see random black folks and I say what's up. I try. Let me tell y'all something. I try to speak to other brothers in public, like just saying, "Hey, what up?" Just to have that sense of fellowship and brotherhood. To let everybody know that things aren't so tense between us. Like we should not be hating each other. And I mean, like that works for older cats, but damn, some dudes act like they want to jump on you right then and there. When you do that, when you try to speak to them sensibly, like, "Hey, bro, how you doing?" Shoot. Now, do I say that TD Jakes was incorrect in what he was saying? In fact, let's look at it again. Let's look at it again. Let's go. Let's look at that video again. Let's see. Let's look at that video again. Was he wrong in what he said? I've already pretty much was like, why is he saying this stuff now? Why did he say this something like this when it was actually effective and could have been tangible for? Oh God, showing y'all what time it is over here.
Speak to them, Bishop.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we are raising up women to be men. and you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you are climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families. I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away. Oh, y'all ain't gonna talk back to me this morning.
Speak to them, Bishop.
Mm. So, was he right in what he said? Was he right despite of what he said? Was he right in doing it? Was he right in saying it? I want to know what y'all think. Weather said, I've seen black men acknowledge every non-black man in a room and ignore the black men in the room. Either that or give them a half-hearted head nod. Mm. Yeah, that's a shame. D. Scott, saying what's up or a head nod, many younger brothers get bent out of shape with that. Said, like, bruh, I don't mean you harming the cereal out. Oh, shit, Stephon Alexander, what's going on? Good to see you. Riverdale Kings, DMV, what's going on? Superfly Gamer Cool Song. Said, sounds like his old lady ain't giving up no booty. Yeah, I was saying something to that effect just a minute ago. It's like a lot of these guys start talking like this because they're projecting what's going on in their personal lives. Like TD Jake's old lady, she might be doing some good herself. And D. Scott said that shit irritates me. You speak when you enter a room, acknowledge other men you walk by as a show of brotherhood, and you aren't a threat. Brothers don't have code. APTV. In a pork chop pastor going in. RPM said what he said was on point, but it's too little too late, as well as who it's coming from. It's a good point. Weather says a lot of black men have it in their minds that every black man they come across is trying to kill them, rob them, or trying to steal their woman. Boy, what? Okay, so I guess that means that WS did his job. They got the code. Yeah, that's another word I was about to use. Code. Black men don't have a code. We don't know how to get on code when need be. The only things I see us getting on code for is when females run into trouble, and it's not like they so much run into trouble as much as they invoke the trouble from other, from other sources. And then black men, as soon as we are witness to this, we jump in and we try to call ourselves rescuing these broads. Now, say for instance, like uh remember that video? There was a video going around social media a few weeks ago. This girl following this dude around like the dollar store and yelling at him, and then all of a sudden she just starts hitting him and jumping on him. And he held off of her for a while. The dude had dreads. She was pulling on his dreads and everything. And the funny part about the video was no one was trying to stop her from hitting him. As soon as he tries to subdue her, like he kind of drags her to the ground and, just like, look, you need to get the fuck up off me. Then that's when, like, all the people, including the brothers, they wanted to jump in. Then they try to say, nah, bruh, nah, we need to stop this, bruh. We don't have a code unless it's for the dumb shit. If we see brothers, if we see brothers getting jumped on by other brothers or in some type of violent interaction with someone, we don't do anything. And in a lot of those cases, rightfully so. I'm not telling you guys that you need to jump in whenever you see a brother getting his ass whooped, because you don't know what kind of weapon those other people are brandishing. Because there's a lot of people that jumped in the past and tried to stop fights, and then they'll end up dead. But we don't have a code for anything. Let me put it to you like this. What up, Greg? If black people actually had a code, would George Floyd be dead? If black people have a code, do thing would things like the Buffalo shooter have happened? Because before the Buffalo shooter happened, he was talking to this black guy outside the market. I mean, what, like it was like you guys were saying, is like we'll sit up there and we'll talk to every non-black person that we possibly can, but act like we have a problem approaching other brothers. And I'm glad you guys acknowledge that, and I'm glad that I have your, like, the kind of people that watch this particular platform. I'm glad that I have people who think like that watch this particular platform. You guys are able to pick out some of the things that shit that I have a problem with. Dane Warren said, I'm like, fuck you and your problems. I said, thank you, Lord Helena Troy wasn't a thank the Lord Helena Troy wasn't a black woman. My goodness. Scott LaRock is one. Yeah, Scott LaRock was one of the first black guys, if not the first black rappers that got killed, and it weighed, like, that particular kill weighed heavily on us. Oh, the Roger Report. Long live the habitual line steppers. Long live. I'm quite sure that everybody that watches me is subscribed to Raj, but if you're not, go over there and subscribe. He has two channels, the Roger Report and the Roger Report Live. Please subscribe to both of them. Dane once said George Floyd would have OD'd still. I mean, I don't think that he was ODing with a police officer's knee on his neck. So that's one of those hot button topics for me. I mean, even though George Floyd has his issues, Derek Chauvin shouldn't have sped the process up, and Derek Chauvin deserves to be where he's at this point in time. Fuck that dude. Weather said the code is money and sex over everything, to the point where you were to betray your brothers. Sadly, that might actually be true. Dwayne Brown, get your money up, get your passport, get Rosetta Stone. There are other options. Uh, Yakuza series generation official. What's going on? Said the funny part is they have three dudes, on the side. Hell the fuck nope. Date out and get those passport. American West women are fucked now already. Name one says fuck Chauvin too. Okay. Yeah, fuck that motherfucker. fuck that motherfucker. Fuck all these. Fuck all these. I mean, let me tell you something, man. I don't believe that every situation where the cops go gung ho that is their fault, but a lot of those situations, especially the one that's caught on camera, is their fault. Like that Terrence Crutcher situation. That dude vehicle was stopped in the middle of the road. That man needed help. Instead, he got a bullet. That man said black men hate who the black woman hates. Notice how most black men hate other black men more than they hate the white men. Oh, whew. Man, you said something then. And just when these divester channels and these other these females on social media be talking about how much black men hate them and black men want to see them dead. I mean, they have. Let me tell you something. They have a bunch of dudes co-signing to that shit. A bunch of black men co-signing to it, like it's true. It's like it's true, and then those same guys will sit there and listen to these females talk about how much they are hated by the black man. They hate other black men more than the white man. Sad as fuck. Sad. It's sad. Mail order bride. Wow, those actually exist. Said single mothers will raise their fuck daughter just want to chase them. And dudes for their money, they for the street stanky. The Pookie and Ray Ray can have them. And look, let me tell you something about Pookie and shit. And I've said this before. If they fucking Pookie, that's one less bitch you got to worry about. You should be thanking Pookie. You should be thanking them. Shit, if that's the kind of dude they want to fool with, by all means. Yeah, but let's see. I'm on an hour and 20 minutes. Let me see something real quick. Drop this link and see if anybody wants to come up. If you don't, I'm probably going to end this in a little bit. Probably going to end this in a little bit, but listen up, guys. Look, let me tell y'all something. I'm not against preachers who speak the truth. I'm not against it at all. I'm not against any black man that has the courage to speak the truth. And I do see a lot of examples of guys who are afraid that come to these platforms. And the fear is anywhere from funny to sad. But guys who had the influence like Jamal Bryant, Creflo Dollar, TD Jakes, they should have done these kinds of things a long time ago. It would have minimized the responsibilities that the space has taken upon ourselves. And I'm not saying that we are the only answer out there. What I am saying is that this is what brothers need to do, man. Is like when you have the position to be the answer and to, eliminate some of this BS and frustration. Um, when you choose not to do it when you have the opportunity, then it kind of sucks for us. it kind of sucks for us because, see, I don't know if y'all, I don't know if y'all used to hear when I used to say stuff like, let me see how I can put this. Yeah, a lot of these people are surprised when they hear us talk like this because they're not used to hearing men talk like this. They're not used to hearing it. And it sounds messed up to them because we are a people that don't like being checked by our people. We'll take being checked by other groups of people. We'll take being checked by our women. Being checked by men, that's something that is very alien and strange to us. They ain't want to say, I come here because it's fun in here. To me, it's like barbershop talk. Yeah, I appreciate I'm able to provide such a fun environment. Let's see. Weather said they also hate where you're happy, Kev. They hate that you are suffering in constant chaos, so they want to bring chaos into your world. Misery loves company, and they want you to feel their pain. Uh, well, I'll tell you one thing about me. It is not your responsibility to take on the pain that I'm feeling at this point in time. It's not your responsibility, just like it's not anyone else's responsibility to weather your pain. Now, I can be as much of a friend to anyone and try to help you through those painful times, but feeling, by some form of empathy, and I can say stuff like, I feel your pain, but I'm not going to go through it for you. Fuck all that. A lot of that shit is self induced any fucking way. Nobody finna feel something because you want them to feel it. Shoot, people are crazy. People are fucking nuts. Let's see something real quick. See if we can do a community tab visit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that for a second. It begs the question: are black men really brothers? Tell you something. We are descendant from a people who have conflicted with each other. They don't feel like they're brothers, and the only reason why we call ourselves brothers over here is because of the fact that we have been through so much as far as us as a people. Yeah, yeah. I thought this meme. Look, let me tell y'all something about these memes I post on my community tab. I don't. I don't make all of them. I do make some of them, and some of them kind of hit it off in the community tab. But what I do is I pull like a lot of memes off Facebook and Instagram, and I post them on this community tab, especially if I think that they are funny. This is the last one that I posted. Uh, it's got that picture of Trey and Boys in the Hood. That man said at least my mama ain't got an OnlyFans account. And whoever this Nurse T person is said what's crazy is this is going to be a lot of kids' reality. And it's got 219 likes. Wow. And see, this is the kind of thing that I talk about when, now you got preachers like TD Jakes coming up to say the things that he says. But, it's just like these things are too little too late at this point. You know, I mean, and there's truth to that. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of people right now that's gonna say that, a lot of kids that's gonna say that to other kids, and then the crazy part about it is they mothers have no shame. Uh-oh, there goes that word shame that y'all like to put with two other words. Let me go back. Let me go back, see if I put anything else in it, and it might be somewhat funny. Because I like to put things in that people laugh about. I don't like to bring gloom and doom to my community tab. I want you guys to laugh. Now, whoever this Benita is, and yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this kind of stuff lately. Women trying to justify asking for shit or feeling entitled to such. And this is why I post these things. Sometimes some of it's to make you laugh, some of it's to make you think. Says, is it bad to ask someone that want to date you how much he will be giving you every month? Man, we'll get the fuck up out my face with that shit. That's what he be talking about. Being strong and independent at one moment and then begging at another moment. And then bearded one down here says, why are these women when are these women gonna admit that they just want to be prostitutes without the stigma? Is it bad to ask someone that want to date you how much he will be giving you every month? Let me give you the answer. Yes, that is bad. Like, what the hell makes you think that you're automatically entitled to someone's money just because you're going out on a date with that person? It's supposed to be companionship for companionship, and she doesn't even say anything in the framing of what she's going to give in return. And in prostitute terminology, dating is having sex. So, so it's just, man, it's just like you when men talk about they're not gonna date and they ain't gonna fuck with these females, is because they see this mentality. Now, I'm not gonna sit up there and say, hey, you know what, just don't fuck with them all together or anything like that, because some of you guys, let me use '90s terminology. Some of you guys are gonna want to get your Jimmy waxed sooner or later. Yeah, I got 455 views on my Jay Ellis evades the dick police, disabling comments on IG with his new bride. I mean, thanks for your support on that one. If I feel like you get into three digits on a download, then it's pretty much a success. For the level of viewership that I get. Yeah, I do feel like that being in the mid threes is a success. So thank you, and excuse me. Definitely check out my community tab. Let's see. Trying to see if anybody is all right. So I put this up here too. The day my husband asked me to pay rent half on rent is the day I pack my bags. And the response was, and go where? You can't even afford half rent. Oh shit. Oh shit. It's almost telling you it's like there's no use in actually getting married these days. And I mean, like, if something happened in my marriage, like, ugh, I mean, I mean, it's gonna be rough. I mean, it's like I ain't about to, like, with some of these out here today. How can you tell a person to get married? I mean, we know what the right thing is to do by the children. If you bring children into the world, hopefully it's by someone you plan on marrying, and that is to that's to guys and females. This is the kind of things that we needed people like TD Jakes to say back in the day. Don't just be having kids by any random dude, or dudes don't get these girls pregnant because that's some stupid shit. We should have heard that. We should have heard that kind of thing. Now we have a fractured community. But like I said, it's the entitlement. It's like like TD Jake should go into why a lot of these things are happening or why a lot of these things are being said at the moment. Because of entitlement is either being entitled or being reckless. Let's see if there's anything else that I haven't really touched on. This right here. This right here. Now, listen up. A lot of people do bullshit like this in order to get some attention and go viral. This man's shirt says, "I just want to eat coochie, help pay bills, and be a great stepdad." Why a great stepdad? Why not? Hey, you know what? I want to find a woman, and I want to impregnate her, and continue my legacy. I mean, it's cool if you want to eat coochie. That's due to someone's personal preference. Help pay bills. Look, if the bills in my name, and I pay those bills and be a great stepdad. Like the hell, he must understand that since there are so many broads out there with. And I'm just speaking from this approach. Y'all can call him a simp if you want to, because this is very simpish behavior. Um, a great stepdad. Like, have you lost all hope in finding an authentic wife? Somebody you can have your own kids by, because that's one thing I'll tell brothers in a heartbeat. Find your own wife. That will find a woman that will have your kids and did not have anyone else's kids. But hey, if you want to do it like that, simp hard, simp harder. Don't be the fool. I have both my baby daddies on child support, but I'll never put you on child support. Man, look, too many. There are too many idiots out here. There's, and unfortunately, there will always be a simp. So situations like that will never have a fix. It will never have a fix to them. And the reason why is because there are so many simps that are willing to do this. They are willing to take on somebody. I have both my baby daddies on child support, but I'll never put you. Who's going for that? Who's falling for that? Anybody that watches this, have they fallen for it? I mean, it says simp advertising. So let me look at some of the comments. Scroll back a little bit. Well, say they call it resources. Black women are obsessed with the ideal of resources. Yeah, that's why they so. That's why they look so happy and so feminine and fit and friendly when they get with white dudes, because they think that they're going to get in on those resources, on that man's legacy. But I'm not trying to police what people do with their private parts. If they want to go with Brad, hey. Yakuza series Generation Official says no wonder why they can't keep one baby daddy. They have 5 or 6 or 7 living off welfare. Shit. Superfly Gamer cool song. My baby mother's brother died. She didn't cry, but when I told her I wasn't signing my name for a car, she cried her eyes out. God damn. Damn. Sorry for her brother's passing, but that's fucked up. Yakuza series says a lot of these dick police is getting mad because Jay Ellis married a white woman. All these idiots getting mad about brothers for dating out. And here's the one thing I said: if there's some sisters out there that have a problem with brothers dating out and getting married, now we can't say anything for the celebrities because celebrities go by a different code, which means that they're going to do whatever they want to do with their money and whatever. But I mean, if you're that upset, then why don't you start making the case as to how sisters are better for black men than Becky's and Maria's and Ling Ling's? And even then, by the damage that has already been done, you can't do anything about it anyway. Shoot. Greg says because all the women are baby mamas at this point. Yeah, I guess that's what Fat Boy is thinking, and and because he probably needs to get on a treadmill, he probably think that he ain't got no choice. All right, got a super chat from Percy, astronaut status. Thank you for the super chat. He said, "Yeah, but they don't understand. Brad comes with some demands. He ain't stupid. Can they meet those demands and requirements? They sure give it a heave ho. I will tell you that. they sure they sure put up the giantest of efforts. Because one thing that I don't like that they say is that we don't appreciate their natural hair, but will be all natural for Brad. And I've seen this in public many a times. Beautiful chocolate skinned black girl, afro all out, and she got a bearded Brad. Weather says Damon John got a unicorn, a fine redhead Becky with a nice body. Jay Ellis' wife is I, but Damon John, yeah, he's winning. Oh, Percy astronaut status with another super chat. Appreciate it. Brad gonna require them to stay under 130 pounds. Uh huh. And then, like I said, they'll do it too. They'll do it too. All of a sudden, they become the most feminine people for, you know, Brad and Chad, and it's and it's all good because they're showing you, and this is what I've been stating. They're showing you how much they don't value black. He said, and don't forget Padma and Fatima's SYSBM options too. Yeah, well, that's the thing is about SYSBM. SYSBM ain't gonna say stuff like get rid of like, hey, we're just not gonna I mean, I ain't gonna say we because I'm not considered SYSBM, but different from divestors and swirlers, SYSBM will still be black. They still will date black, just not American black. So yeah. All right. Well, say SYSBM for life. I, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I see SYSBM getting a lot of heat, but I don't see why SYSBM is getting a lot of heat. They see pretty much the same thing that we see. We see a lot of sisters are out of order, like Ilana Van Zant says. A lot of sisters are out of order. SYSBM Dane One stands for Save Yourself Black Man. A lot of brothers make fun of it because they feel like that SYM SBM brothers are just, and this is a word that is quite often used when black men speak freely. They're saying that black men are crying about black women, and they think that And I will agree with this one statement: if you're whack over here in the states, you're going to be whack in other places in the world. But for those brothers that are truly and genuinely having trouble, unearned troubles with the sisters, then hey, by all means, if you have the resources in place, shoot, go to other countries, travel, see this world. Just understand that there are pros and cons that go with that. And Weather says SYSBM isn't relegated to getting sex from other women. It's about saving yourself from a base black counterculture in America and building your own culture as a black man. All right. Well, thanks for the clarity. Thanks for the thanks for the clarity. And then he says we got to be careful not to be synonymous with passport trick. I mean, brothers. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but look. Just like I said in that Jay Ellis video, we don't owe these women or anyone, for that matter, an explanation for why that we do the things that we do. I mean, a lot of these people will sit there and make fun of the SYSBM brothers, but the SYSBM brothers, they're going off. They're trying to be happy, while a lot of you other brothers will sit up there and put yourself through the trouble. Greg says BGS just did a couple videos that shows what happens when B-dub gynocrats go to Africa. Oh, shoot. Let me check those. Check that video out. Said Pablo is not SYSBM. He's Passport Brothers. He's their Lyft driving leader. Are you talking about Pablo Fresco Bar? I mean, he seems like he's a cool brother. I mean, he seems like he's a cool brother. So, uh, I don't have problems with some of the guys who do that, but I do realize that there are some out there that have problems with guys doing that, and that's just one thing that I just don't get. I don't get that shit at all. But shout out to Greg for the cash app. I appreciate that. Appreciate you once again. Yeah, let me hold on one second. Yeah. It said Pablo is not one of us. He's over there with a passport trick. I mean, brothers. LOL. Shout out to Pablo. Greg says those B dubs expats act like ugly Americans. Hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, nobody came up, so might as well go ahead and bring this into a close into a little bit. Um, but I guess let me show the video one more time. Oh, Mulatto Vanguard, what's going on? Percy, astronaut status, said, fellas, in 2022, now you have to watch out even for the young sisters. They on these channels being taught how to get a sugar daddy. Ugh, shoot. Well, like I said just a second ago, there's always a simp that will go for that. That will go for that. They bat their eyes and shake a tail feather. Shoot, that's over for some of these brothers. Pablo and Theo Wolf got the passport game on lock. Theo is making it rain in Brazil. Go on him. He survived cancer and is a millionaire. Oh, Theo is a cancer survivor? Yeah, so I guess that's the one thing that myself, Theo, and Kevin Samuels has in common. We're all cancer survivors. I mean, despite how you may feel about these people, I give like a lot of respect. Weather says, I remember when Theo timed me out in Bernard's chat because he timed you out in Bernard's chat because I called him a trick in your chat. Okay, so let me see if I'm reading that correctly. You called him a trick over here, and he said that I heard what you said about me being a trick. All right, I got a challenge for these ghost watchers then. If that's the case, acknowledge yourself. Let me know. Let me know that you're watching, you know. I mean, if I've said anything that people might disagree with, shit, I'm not afraid. And definitely don't take it out on the people who actually come here to watch this content. Shoot, Yakuza Series Generation Official said, clean up, guys. Hell, fuck, nope. I ain't having nothing to do with that shit. Mulatto Vanguard said he has the money, so how is it being a trick? I guess Mulatto Vanguard is making the point of it ain't tricking if you got it. But listen up, guys. I'm about to get out of here. I'm about to get out of here. Let me show this video one more time. Should I? Yeah, I use StreamYard. My thoughts? Can you please clarify? Shoot, I might switch to another platform shortly just to try it out. But let's see this video one more time.
Speak to them, Bishop.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we are raising up women to be men. And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you're climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families. I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away. Oh, y'all ain't gonna talk back to me this morning.
Speak to them, Bishop.
Yeah. Look, they have been saying this kind of stuff for years upon years, and men have been saying this for the longest. And when these influencers of the past or the influencers of the old guard, aka priests and preachers, men of the cloth, men of God, when they were, when we needed them to say this the most, they didn't care. They only thought about their pockets instead. And as men, if we were in their position, Will we have told the truth to these people, or will we have wanted to line our pockets? Now be careful when you go. Now be careful when you answer that question yourself. You know, because I believe a lot of us would have went for the almighty dollar, but that's just me. Uh, just at the end of the day, when you have a responsibility to the people, and Greg, thank you for the super chats. He says, TD Jake sounds like Black Manosphere talking points to me. And it was the point that I made earlier. A lot of these guys are seeing the impact that the Black Manosphere is having, that black male podcasters are starting to push. And if they aren't themselves careful, then they will be replaced by the black male podcaster. And this is a process that was started by black male podcasters. Maybe the Manosphere 1.0 guys, guys like Tommy Sotomayor, guys like Angry Man, you know. And although he been on some bullshit lately, guys like O'Shea Duke Jackson, you know, it's another way of saying fear of replacement. You know, either they're gonna hop on board and either they're gonna hop on board and try to, or try to even take over this doctrine, or they'll get left behind by guys like us who know how to convey the messages and relate more to the modern day black man more so than they do. And that right there is what's likely to happen. Is they're likely to be replaced as the men who are the thought leaders because they chose money. They chose money instead of telling the truth. And now their well is going to dry up. So, anyway, that's on them. That's on them. That's not my problem. Um, Long time ago, I decided that in a lot of these situations that I am going to be me, and that's just it. And therefore, because of that, I'm not gonna have these difficulties that guys like TD Jakes are having at the present time because these guys should have been brutally honest in the first place. And with that being said, I am out. Please, if you haven't hit that like button, uh, if you are a content creator or you have a social media platform, maybe share this video if you want to the platforms. Let's bring some more subs here. Let's help grow this channel. Let's become the thought leaders. Let's become that because we got at this point. And people like TD Jake should have realized that in the beginning. I mean, kudos to the brother for all his success, for all the money he's made, but he's starting to get a dose of reality. And that is, we're taking over. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming out to sharing this broadcast with me, and see you guys tomorrow night. The title of the broadcast is "On Any Given Sunday, We're All Talk," and I will explain that very thoroughly for you guys as I explain everything. It's been 2 hours, so um, let me leave you guys with this. Long live the habitual line steppers. In Kev we trust. I will win, and when that happens, we will all win. Peace out. Till the next time.